The flooded area in the video is Wuchang County in Heilongjiang Province. It's located in the northeastern part of China and is known as the grain warehouse in northeast China, a region that is well known nationwide. Recently, due to a typhoon, the Chinese Communist Party or CCP authorities released floodwater from the surrounding reservoirs in order to protect the urban area of Wuchang. As a result, many of the towns and villages that lay below were flooded. Peasants have suffered great damage, homes built by generations are destroyed, and crops are flooded with no harvest. Look, the floodwaters have inundated the rice paddies. One can only see a sea of water with the tip of the rice crops. Now it's supposed to be the flowering period. No rice will grow without flowers. In about 2 months it will be harvesting time, but now with the big flood, the harvest is gone. It's all over. This field is all over. It's not easy for us Wuchang peasants. We depend on the weather for our livelihood. All the work we did on the field is for nothing. It's all flooded. Now is the critical time for the crop to fruit. 2 days of flooding. It's over. The year's production is gone. Look at it. The water continues to pour into the field. In another hour or so, this side of the paddy field will be completely gone. Finished. All the work is done for nothing. My family has 80 mu of land. It's all inundated when they discharge the floodwaters. Now the water is still 4 or 5 meters deep. Look over there. The white-colored rice paddies over there disappeared. We have had floods before, but they were never like this. Our village has 130 or 140 households, and not many of them have any grains. Everyone, look at this rice field. During the flooding, the floodwater was so deep, up to 1.5 meters deep above the top of the rice ears. Let's go down to take a look. This kind of rice ear is dying. A few have survived despite having been soaked for a day. But I don't know if it's worth harvesting because of the cost of the machine or the labor. These are done with no harvest. They have been soaked in water for too long. Look at the color. You can smell it from a distance, the smell of withered grass and the odor. A lot of them are already rotting. That is, they are soaked for too long. These rice ears are straight, but they won't fruit. Rice flowers are washed away, and they won't fruit without flowers. These are all dead. Wuchang County represents a snapshot of the grain-producing regions of northeastern China. In August, a Fitch Ratings report said, heavy rains in northeastern China's grain-producing regions will lead to a drop in production, potentially putting upward pressure on the already high global rice price. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization's Rice Price Index, global rice prices have surged to their highest level in nearly 12 years. The Fitch report noted that China was the world's largest rice producer, but many of the major grain-producing areas in the 3 provinces, that is, Inner Mongolia, Jilin, and Heilongjiang, which accounted for 23% of China's rice production, were affected by torrential rains and Typhoon Doksuri. Moreover, they were about to face another flood as Typhoon Kanun moved in. Let's take a look at Wuchang County after the floodwaters receded. The flooded villages are full of garbage and silt. Families are cleaning up their homes, and many of the houses have collapsed.
I said yesterday that I wouldn't cry. I was afraid that people would laugh at me for not being strong enough, not being brave enough. But I really am not that strong. I'm not that brave. When I see my home, when I see the fields, I'm like having a meltdown. We grow rice, but our family doesn't even have a single grain of rice left.
Wuchang County is an important commercial grain base in China, but the farm fields are turned into a sea of water by torrential rains and flooding. It's safe to assume that China's food supply will be in crisis in 2023. Local peasants are faced with the urgent problem of how to survive.
I worked day and night. I didn't even buy new clothes. And finally, I saved up the money to build a house. Now a heavy rainstorm flooded the house. I have no home to go back to. So how can we, the people, live? How much work do I have to do to have this kind of savings? I'm already over 70 years old. Where can I find a job? No one will hire me. How did I save this much to build the house? It was about 50,000 to 60,000 yuan, or around $7,000. It's all wasted. How can we live? I'm a widow. It's even harder for her to raise a child alone. Her husband is dead. How can she not cry? The fields are all flooded. The house is gone too.
This video, posted on August 13th, 2023, went viral on the Chinese web. Several men were walking through ankle-deep mud into a rural home. The man dressed in purple explained a story about an elderly couple. They were rescued from the flood, but upon seeing their destroyed home, they jumped into a well out of despair and both died. People really have no hope. In the village we visited over there, the two seniors were rescued, but they were so desperate that they jumped into a well and both died. People have saved their whole life to have a home, but it was completely destroyed. In this video, we see a rural couple. They fled at the last moment before the water rushed into the house and escaped the danger. In haste, the man only had a pair of underwear on. He shivered in the cold wind.
We didn't bring anything out. What we are wearing is all we have. We don't have anything else. It's all in there. We got nothing out. He was in his underwear when running out. He didn't even have pants on. He went back to look for a pair of pants. He was shivering in the cold. He ran as fast as he could. The family dog was on the leash and didn't make it out, so he died inside, and the chicken that were kept there drowned as well.
In the flooded Wuchang County, many people lost their homes overnight. They are now forced to leave the villages and seek work elsewhere. They are helpless and powerless in rebuilding their homes. A woman filmed her flooded home and showed it to her son, choking up and muttering there was nothing left. It was heartbreaking.
There's nothing left, son. Look at that.
We are from Wuchang County, Minla Village. Look at the water. It reached the top of the house. You can still see the water marks there. The water was too big. This flood is disastrous. These are garbage after the disaster. The fence was submerged. The leaves stuck here during the flood. Look at that mark. It's where the floodwater was. When we arrived at Lujia village, every family had started cleaning up their houses. This is the water level on the first floor. This small house is nearly destroyed. This is the rice paddy. Water hasn't drained yet. You can see the top of the rice crops. There is basically nothing to harvest. You can smell the stench here. It's all turned black. This kind of crop is useless even if it can still stand up. It won't grow anymore. Now it's still drizzling. This is a pig farm. It had about 70 or 80 pigs. Now only 20-something are left. The rest are dead or lost. Look at this water line. It's where the floodwater reached. The pig farm is in a mess. Very messy. This flood is disastrous. Every family basically has 150 mu of fields, but they won't have any harvest. Their houses are all about to collapse. Peasants in Wuchang County in times of distress have got some warm-hearted help. In the face of homelessness and victims who have nowhere to turn, a restaurant owner brought his staff to cook on site so there was a hot meal for everyone. Victims were in tears when they saw the bowl of meat. They saw common people donating money on their own initiative. But during this moment of need, where are the disaster relief teams from the government? We are now in the location of the village of Lehanpao in Wuchang County. This village is affected relatively worse. Look at the water. It's still deep at knee-high. Now he's standing in a place where the water isn't above the knee. We can't drive our vehicles into the village. This is the center of the village. We planned to go inside the village to cook, but we had to stop at the entrance of the village as the water was too deep. We came here today to make some hot meals for people and to do what we can for our hometown. We have prepared some supplies like disinfectants, blankets, and water. There is a small village on the west side. You can't get to it. We can only get there by boat. The water is more than 1 meter deep. Now you can see that the water has gone down by 1 meter, and you can see that the deepest part is here, about 1.5 meters deep. Then here, the water rises again after receding. The villagers said the water receded and they came back to see their homes. It's terrible here. This is a small store. Everything was submerged and destroyed. Here, the water is waist deep. Let's see what's missing so I can bring them tomorrow. The first day it collapsed here. The second day it collapsed there. This place doesn't look like it's gonna make it. Thank you, brothers. Thank you for coming to the rescue of our sweaty peasants. You've worked hard. Come and eat. Don't forget, okay?
To be honest, all the rice crops this year are flooded. It's fortunate for us to have meat in our bowl. It's a luxury to eat meat. More than 100 mu of land are flooded. We have to pay for the children to go to school. It's not easy to farm a little bit of land. Look, a big flood, all is lost. Thank you very much.
It's okay, it's okay. Don't mention it. The chopsticks are here. Get more if you need more. You can take extra, there is enough. We made 3 big pots. It's okay if you need more. It's okay. You can take even 5 portions. Give this aunt some more. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll come with you. Let's get you some water. You be safe. I'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll definitely take care of this area. I'll definitely take care of you. Fill up this big sister's tub. Don't worry too much. Don't wear yourself out. There is more bottled water here. Take more. Right now, many families still can't cook yet. Everything is gone. No utensils. They can't cook. There is no electricity and no gas. Most people can't cook yet. That's it for today. We'll be back on time tomorrow. Yet, some people aren't sympathetic towards the helplessness and despair of the peasants in Wuchang County. They posted some careless remarks online, which have saddened the flood victims even more. Let's take a look.
Some people say northeasterners are so over the top, especially the residents of Wuchang County. They got flooded, that's all. It's not that big of a deal. People in Hebei were flooded, but they weren't whining like you guys. How much hatred can you muster to make such a heartless statement? Today, I'll tell you why I'm so devastated by the flood. Flooding the peasants is different from flooding the office workers. We peasants have put all our money into the crops. First, we have to pay for the seeds. It costs money to plant and harvest it. We don't have time to go out and do our jobs. Now, in about a month, it's harvest time. You can see that the rice has blossomed and is about to fruit. But in the end, something has gone wrong and we're in debt. And we are really heartbroken about our crops. Whether in the south or the north, in the event of natural disasters, the first ones who are worried must be peasants. We are relying on the weather for our livelihood. Crops are the peasants' basic livelihood and security. And you are in a high-rise building with air conditioning and drinking coffee, typing on the keyboard and speaking shamelessly about the disaster. Do you have a conscience? What would you eat without us peasants growing the fields? What would you do without us peasants? I don't ask you to help, but don't speak ill. Everyone suffers, and the world is in trouble. Be kind when disasters strike.
The sudden flood in Wuchang County destroyed many families overnight. Ruined houses are one after another. There are 4 more in the back. The savings of several generations are wiped out. Where are the people supposed to stay? And the crops their livelihoods depend on. A year's hard work is wasted. How are they supposed to plant their crops next year? You're not the one who got flooded, so you don't feel the pain and heartache of the peasants, do you? We don't expect you to be compassionate. At least be kind. Look at the stuff you said. Northeasterners are lazy. What about the food you eat? Is it falling from the sky? Without the grains from the Northeast, how many people would be starving nationwide? Someone said the northeastern region was affluent. Our villages are almost empty. If we were well off, who would want to leave home and work elsewhere? Someone said, rice from Wuchang is expensive. I've never had any of that rice, so I don't owe it to Wuchang. So, what have you been eating, poop? Peasants are one family. Do us peasants owe you anything? I hope some of you will speak like humans. One person has said something that hit the nail on the head. If the 3 northeastern provinces don't grow crops, the entire China will go hungry. If you have a chance, come and visit the rural villages. You'll see what's happening. Now, those who are at home growing crops are elderly people. Most of the young people have left for the cities. In 10 years' time, there won't be anyone left to grow crops. I hope you people will be kind and support the Northeasterners. Don't forget, we are all one big family. When other places suffer from difficulties, Northeasterners have always been there for you. Now, we are in trouble. I hope you people can support Northeast China. To protect Northeast China is to protect the rice bowls for everyone. 保住东北就是保住大家的饭碗。